What if we told you that the most shocking love triangle in hip-hop didn't begin with Papoose, and didn't end with Easy the Block Captain? According to a now viral interview that has the internet rewatching old Terror Squad videos and flipping tables, Remy Ma allegedly dated Fat Joe before she ever met Papoose, the Gwad herself. Claressa Shields blew the whole thing open while promoting a boxing match. When the host asked about Remy's past, Claressa simply responded, "You know she was with Joe before Papoose, right? That isn't news to us, it's news to y'all." Hold up, come again. Through the analysis of old lyrics, the analysis of body language from awards shows, and the replaying of backstage footage from 2005, such as it's a Zapruder film, they hoped we would ignore it. However, once you hear what Claressa truly revealed, you won't look at Lean Back the same way again. Let's stop acting as though Claressa Shields dropped some random rumors. What she did was set off a ticking time bomb from the industry that had been buried years ago, under mixed up as prison bids and hashtags for black love, because if what she said is true, that is, Remy Ma was with Fat Joe before Papoose then. We've been watching the wrong love story the entire time. Joseph Cartagena, also known as Fat Joe, was a man who promised to keep everything together, and he did. But not in the way that the public believed at the time. Terror Squad was an empire, not just a rap group, and Fat Joe was the godfather. He kept Remy in the studio night after night, pushing her to the front lines, hyping her up on tracks, and giving her what appeared to be the biggest brotherly cosin in Bronx history. However, sources now claim that it was more than just music. According to an ex-Terror Squad assistant who worked in their management office from 2002 to 2006, Joe and Remy had a complicated relationship from the beginning. She called him Joey, and he called her Ma even off camera, and when sessions went beyond 100 nobody asked why she was still there. But this is where it gets. In a 2005 archive video that was rediscovered this week, Joe is seen hugging Remy. After a show, nothing unusual, except that before the camera cuts away, you hear Joe mutter something that fans had never noticed before. "We're going to get it right this time." What did that mean? What were they trying to get right? And why has no one ever asked about it? It wasn't just a chance flirtation or industry chemistry. It was emotional and personal, and it's been hiding in plain sight. Joe had a lot to gain by remaining silent, positioning himself as a hip-hop peacemaker, the businessman, the person who introduced Big Pun to the world, and later supporting Remy when no one else would. Plays a place full of guilt or something more romantic, because this is where Claressa's interview turns this from a rumor to a scandal. During a late-night podcast interview, Claressa was asked about Remy and Papoose's current tension, but instead of giving a superficial response, she smirked as if she knew something. Then, she said, "I was with Joe before Papoose," which may not be news to them. But to the rest of us, it's a rewriting of Remy Ma's legacy in real time, because Papoose, the man who married her during her prison sentence, held her down for 6 years and reintroduced her as a symbol of devoted black love. He wasn't even the first. He wasn't the beginning, he was the cover, and insiders are beginning to talk. After a 2004 show in Atlanta, no one questioned it at the time. We assumed it was just for safety. However, with this new context, the story takes a different turn. There was also talk about a 2003 Terror Squad trip to Puerto Rico, which was billed as a music retreat, but according to several unnamed sources, Remy and Joe were spotted jet skiing together, going missing for hours at a time, and having dinner alone at the resort's private beach. Their affair wasn't a secret, though, as it is rumored that some crew members expressed concerns about the relationship itself, as well as the potential effects on the business. One source recalled an argument between Fat Joe and an executive. A now deleted tweet from a verified hip-hop blogger claimed that an old iPod from Remy's pre-prison days contains voice notes from Fat Joe, although no recordings have leaked. Yet, the internet is closely monitoring this situation, because where there is smoke in hip-hop, there is almost always a full fire with receipts. Even fans have joined the hunt, and Reddit threads are flooded with frame-by-frame breakdowns of old music videos, looking for glances, touches, or anything that seems to intimate. One clip from the Lean Back remix caught viewers' attention. Before the beat drops, they laugh and whisper something off mic, which is quick and innocent if you didn't know any better. But as the energy builds, it becomes clear that if Remy Ma and Fat Joe actually had a romantic relationship, even for a short time, the timeline we've been fed for all these years is a lie. It means that Papoose might have fallen in love with someone who is still emotionally tied to another man. That Fat Joe might have buried a personal history for the sake of image, business, and brotherhood, and that Remy Ma's redemption arc has a hidden prelude that they hoped would never come to light. It's out now, and this story is just getting started, because what Claressa said on that podcast was just the beginning. Claressa Shields didn't just let a little truth slip out. She blew the whole damn cover off the industry's best-kept secret when she casually claimed that Remy Ma was with Fat Joe before Papoose. The interviewer blinked and stuttered, asking if she was serious. Claressa didn't even flinch, saying, "People in their circle know I haven't got time to lie." Papoose knew it too, but he didn't think it'd have mattered until now. And that's when the cameras continued to roll for the next 10 minutes of the now viral interview, which has since been clipped, uploaded, re-uploaded, and snatched down again. Like digital contraband, claimed that there was tension between Remy and Joe even. They would be on set and not even look at each other like two people with a past. They pretend never happened. She also claimed that Joe was the only one who didn't post anything when Remy and Papoose renewed their vows. Well, you know what? People rushed to check, and sure enough, in 2022, when Remy Ma and Papoose held a public vow renewal ceremony, Fat Joe posted a picture of sneakers that day. Claressa wasn't finished, though, as she claimed that there was a specific incident in 2015, a private after-party after a bet taping, where she heard Fat Joe pull Remy aside and say, "If you ever want it again, you know where I stand." Claressa didn't say if Remy answered, but she vowed that Remy didn't leave right away, and that line, "If you ever wanted it again," hit the internet like a bullet within 48 hours. Fake insiders began to emerge from the shadows. Some were obviously chasing clout, but a few hit the ground. One user pulled up footage from that exact bet event, and sure enough, Joe and Remy can be seen whispering in the corner. Too close to the truth to ignore one anonymous post from a former road manager for Terror Squad, who claimed that in 2004, Remy was riding with Joe's SUV exclusively and had special clearance in hotel bookings. He claimed that their rooms were frequently next door and that, mysteriously, only one room was needed at times. Now, listen. You and I both know that rumors fly fast in this industry, but it isn't just about one claim. It's about a consistent pattern, a string of behavior that, when lined up, tells a story no one wanted told. Let's talk about the public reactions. Fans weren't just shocked. They were furious that the same Remy, who marketed herself as a symbol of transparency and authenticity, might have had a love triangle wrapped in layers of denial. History while positioning himself as a link between artists and for Papoose, the man who supported Remy during her trial, prison release, and public pressure, only to now be treated as a second chapter of a book she had already begun with. Someone else, one tweet said, Papoose was doing jail visits while Joe was having flashbacks. Another leanback was never about dancing. Rather, it was about avoiding questions. And it didn't help that Fat Joe was completely silent, no statement, no denial. Nothing, while Remy Ma, who typically claps back in 0 to seconds later. Everything went dark, there were no tweets or stories. And then the conspiracy theories began to take off. Some people theorized that Claressa intentionally revealed the information, perhaps as payback for a recent argument she had with Remy at 8th Impact was irreversible. Old video interviews began to circulate, including one from 2017 in which Remy Ma was asked directly if she and Fat Joe had ever been romantically involved. She laughed and responded, "People are so disrespectful. That's my brother." However, body language experts pointed out her nervous blinking and sudden lip press, looking sideways. Was she hiding something? Or was it just her nerves about being asked something ridiculous? That question now has new weight. The audio then surfaced just 3 days after Claressa's interview went viral, and a mysterious SoundCloud link started making the rounds in group chats and Discord forums. The clip is about 28 seconds long. 8 seconds long. The internet didn't care because the voice sounded familiar and the timing was so perfect. Now, let's not forget the visual evidence people have uncovered. A throwback magazine shoot from 2005 shows Joe and Remy sitting close to each other, holding hands. The photographer, who was recently interviewed by a well-known hip-hop blog, confirmed that they seemed way more affectionate than just label mates. The walls were closing in, and more former affiliates began to speak up. A DJ who toured with Terror Squad commented, "Look, everyone knew something was going on. We just didn't ask." Joe was, and all of this leaves one inevitable question: was Papoose the rebounder or worse, the distraction? Because if Remy and Joe had a history, and it wasn't over before she got with Papoose, then what kind of love triangle were we watching for the last 15 years without even realizing it? As the heat built, fans demanded answers and bloggers called it the most shocking revelation since the Cardi-Nicki DM leaks. Spotify playlists were quietly updated to remove Fat Joe and Remy's joint tracks from Black Love-themed collections. This wasn't just tea. It was a full-blown identity crisis in hip-hop relationships. And Claressa isn't backing down when asked if she regrets what she said. That's it, no explanation. No cleanup, just those 3 words, and it made everything 10 times worse because if she didn't lie, everything we know about Remy Ma, Fat Joe, and Papoose is about to burn. If Claressa's shields didn't lie, the story we've been sold for years, the ride-or-die black love fantasy of Remy Ma and Papoose, just shattered like a dropped trophy on concrete. Since the interview ended, everyone's silence has been louder than any diss track, and behind that silence lies a Category 5 emotional hurricane. Let's start with Papoose. According to an insider close to his circle, Papoose was already suspicious before Claressa said anything. He'd been allegedly sleeping in the studio and spending less time at the family home. The spark was gone, and fans believe they know why when the interview began to circulate. Papoose's mood changed. The source stated he didn't explode. He just froze. You've never seen a man deal with heartbreak in real time like that. Then came the brief, cryptic, but incisive tweets that said, "The worst pain doesn't come from enemies. She told me that he was just family." And that tweet alone received 1 million impressions in a matter of hours. Suddenly, the narrative flipped, and people were no longer merely curious. They were engrossed in comment sections filled with heartbreak, disbelief, and betrayal. Another fan wrote, "This man held her down through prison and is what he gets." Additionally, on the day that Papoose tweets went viral, Remy Ma deleted all of her Instagram posts. No announcement was made, but nothing was left behind. No family photos, birthday tributes, black love images, or even her most recent freestyle post was erased. Fans wondered if this was a PR ploy, a digital version of a full-blown identity collapse, or something else entirely. It wasn't just Remy, though, because Fat Joe, Mr. I Got Nothing to Hide, went dark. His scheduled IG Live was cancelled, his media team went silent, and that sneaker post from 2020 to the one he uploaded on the day of Remy and Papoose vow renewal was deleted and now subtly scrubbed, as if someone had gone back in time and started rewriting receipts, pulling up old interviews, award shows, and even Terror Squad reunion specials. One clip in particular has people shaking. In a 2016 interview, Papoose is sitting next to Remy, praising her comeback, when Fat Joe interrupts and says, "You're lucky I let her go." Everyone laughed, including Papoose. But now that line is being examined like an autopsy. Was it a joke? Or was Joe unintentionally confirming what Claressa just revealed? If that wasn't enough, a new anonymous leak appeared in the inbox of a celebrity gossip page, allegedly showing a screenshot of a 2004 text message from Fat Joe to Remy, which read, "I hate seeing you around these clowns. You know I'm the only one that ever understood you." The page hasn't verified its authenticity, but behind closed doors, rumors of a massive PR crisis have surfaced. One record label representative, speaking anonymously, said they're panicking. Brands are freezing deals, streaming platforms are watching engagement numbers, and everyone's trying to figure out what Remy's next move is, if there even is one. Speaking of next moves, the most bizarre twist of all is that someone nobody knows leaked audio purportedly recorded just days before Claressa's interview. In the tape, a woman who is thought to be Claressa is heard saying to someone else, "She was supposed to come clean. She said she would. I just beat her to it." If this is accurate, it means Remy knew the secret was coming out, and possibly even she agreed to tell it herself. So why didn't she? Some claim she was attempting to shield her son, while others claim he's been in contact with legal counsel, not for a divorce yet, but for managing his public image, especially if more information becomes available. Recall the old iPod we mentioned in part 1, which some claimed contained voice notes from Fat Joe. That device is now owned by a well-known hip-hop documentarian, who has already contacted streaming platforms about creating a limited series called Before Black Love, which promises voice clips, old emails, never-before-seen photos, and unreleased. Fans are divided, with some saying it was before Papoose let it go, and others are calling for transparency. They want a statement, an explanation, and closure. But what would that even look like? A press conference, a dual interview, a documentary bombshell? Whatever it is, it better come soon, because the pressure is mounting. The blogs won't stop. The fans from remembering what Claressa said, and she's still tweeting. She posted a cryptic line last night that was never about clout, but rather about clarity. Now, we ask, did Fat Joe and Remy Ma have a secret relationship that lasted longer than we knew? Was Papoose just the last chapter in a book Joe started writing? What does Remy say when the microphone finally comes back around? Or is this just old history coming to light? Or is this the truth that has been buried under plaques, loyalty slogans, and red carpet smiles? Because if Remy Ma and Fat Joe shared more than just verses, and if Papoose was caught off guard after holding her down for years, then we're not just witnessing a scandal, but the disintegration of hip-hop's most trusted love story. Claressa's shields didn't stutter, she didn't flinch, and so far, no one, not even Remy, Joe, or even Pap, is calling her a liar. We're only one leak away from everything changing again. And when it does, you'll hear it here first because in a world full of cover-ups, receipts speak louder than reputations. Stay locked in this story, which is not even close to being over. A fairy tale while the real love triangle played out backstage. If you have any thoughts, please share them in the comments section below. Was Papoose just a backup plan to Claressa? Or was Remy stuck between the only two men who ever really knew her?